Warning! The root's on fire! You're about to experience the most high-octane, pedal-to-the-metal controversial show of your life. Please buckle up and hold on tightly. This station is not responsible for injuries. This is Wayne Allyn Root, raw and unfiltered, with America's favorite conservative rock star. Direct from the entertainment capital of the world, Las Vegas. What time is it? It's time for war! Here's your host, 100% raw truth, 100% American made, the warrior, Wayne Allyn Root.
All right, Wayne Allyn Root, justice is done. Justice is done. Carmelo Anthony, guilty of first-degree murder for the fatal run-in at the track meet outside Dallas. I think it was in Frisco, Texas, if I remember correctly. Anthony's lawyer stuck to the most ridiculous argument in the history of mankind, that it was self-defense. And outside were black people protesting, self-defense, self-defense, it was self-defense, it's racist. So now when a black guy stabs a white guy to death, it's self-defense and it's racism by the white guy. Yeah. Well, thank God the jury found him guilty. I don't know whether the country's going to burn now, simply because there were all white jurors, and black people cannot accept that all white jurors found a guy guilty who's black of stabbing a white guy to death for no reason. No reason at all. Literally nothing. He was in the wrong tent. Football players asked him 15 times to leave. 15. And he said, who's going to make me? And this kid was bold enough, this Austin Metcalf was bold enough to literally go up to him and say, I'll make you. Get out of here now. And when he tried to pick him up and move him, he picked up a knife and stabbed him in the heart and killed him. That's called murder. By any measure, that's called murder. If someone puts their hands on me and I respond with a gun or a knife because they were simply not fighting me, but pushing me out of a tent, that's murder. And I think it should have been a race crime. I think it should have been a hate crime. I think it's incredible I didn't add on hate crime charges, because if a white man kills a black man, it's automatically a hate crime. Why is it a hate crime when a black youth kills a white kid? But he's guilty. The jury reached a verdict in less than 3 hours. Supporters outside the court of the murderer, Carmelo Anthony, shouted at cops that the entire process was racist. This whole thing has been racist. We didn't make it racist. Yeah, you didn't make it racist. Well, Carmelo Anthony made it racist. He stabbed a white kid, a nice white kid who did nothing wrong, whose life is now over, and his family will never see him again, and he will never be there for Christmas. He'll never be there for Thanksgiving. He'll never be there for New Year's. He'll never be there for his birthday. He'll never be there for their mom and dad's birthday. He'll never give them grandkids. Just death is a terrible thing, man. It's a horrible thing to think about, all the things this guy will miss for the rest of his life. The birth of his first child, which will never exist. Getting married, which will never exist. Walking his daughter down the aisle 30 years from now will never exist. All because a black kid with a lousy attitude decided to kill a white boy. And good. God bless. Finally, justice in America. Guilty of first-degree murder. Verdict came after 4 days of excruciating testimony, so graphic it visibly shocked jurors and drove Metcalf's family from the courtroom. Really quite amazing stuff. The jury, which didn't include a single black person. So there it is. There it is. That'll be the reason why the nation might burn. They heard from students at the scene, medics, officials, law enforcement officers who responded. And he continued to rely on the argument, Carmelo Anthony, that it was self-defense. It was never self-defense. And if you think that's bad, try Ireland, Belfast, Ireland, where an African migrant tries to saw off a victim's head in the middle of the street. An African migrant. Do you understand this is what's going on in our world? Do you understand that we shouldn't be letting these people into our country? These people don't mean black people. That's not what I'm talking about. Don't ever try and say that's what I'm saying. We shouldn't allow anyone into our country. First of all, shouldn't allow a damn person at this point. We should cut off immigration for the next 10 years, and we still wouldn't catch up or catch behind, however you want to put it. And we should get rid of every single illegal in our country, of which I keep saying there are 50 million. Greg Bovino, the former head of border and ICE, I believe. I think he was the head of ICE. Greg Bovino, who's now thinking about running for president of the United States in 2028, by the way. And he says his whole platform would be getting rid of 100 million illegals. Every one of the 100 million has to leave the country. Well, again, that's what J.J. Carroll says too. And he's a good friend of mine. He's a great guy. He's brilliant. He says there's 100 million in our country. And that could be. It's not 100 million out of 330 million. I believe that number's wrong too. I think we have 330 million Americans in the country. I think there's about 30, 40 million illegals that don't even get counted, that you don't even know about. So we're probably closer to 400 million people. And they're saying there's 100 million of them that are illegal aliens. Could be. But there's definitely 50 million. And definitely 25, 30 million of them were let in 4 years under Joe Biden. I also saw an economist today say that all 4 years under Biden were in recession, and they never admitted it. False numbers, all 4 years under Joe Biden. Never announcing that we were in recession, and we were in recession the whole time, and we've been in recession since Trump took over. No one could turn around in a second. I'm the first guy and the only guy I know of who said that Reagan took over Jimmy Carter, the Jimmy Carter economic mess, and the gas lines and the gas problems, the price of oil. And it took 2 years to turn it around. It was a disaster for 2 years under Reagan. And then the last 6 years of Reagan's presidency were the greatest economy, the greatest boom time in history. I said that from day one. I said, how do you know it won't take Trump at least 2 years to turn it around? And of course, he hasn't been in office 2 years yet. He has to be in office, what is this, June? Not even mid-June yet. He has to be in office the rest of June, July, August, September, October, November, December, and January to be 2 years. So you're talking about 8 months to go or so for it to be 2 years. And I've always argued that by this summer or early fall, Trump will have the economy humming, and I believe I'll turn out to be right, which would mean he's ahead of Reagan's record. But it takes time to turn a ship around, and Biden messed up the ship. All right, but back to Belfast horror. Authorities and media have scrambled to soften language around a graphic knife assault last night by an apparent African migrant that has left a local Belfast man fighting for his life with devastating injuries. Horrific footage shows the attacker straddling the victim and repeatedly stabbing his head before sawing at his neck in an attempt to behead him. It's like out of a horror movie. Bystanders screamed in horror as the attack unfolded. However, police have described it as nothing more than a stabbing incident involving a man. A man. That's it. Not involving a migrant, not involving an African migrant, not involving a black man, just involving a man. Of course. Of course. The assault happened after 10:30 p.m. on Monday in northern Belfast. The attacker hacked at the victim's head and neck with a small box cutter, Stanley knife, box cutter style, Stanley knife. Locals rushed in to drag the assailant off, batting him with blunt objects before the police finally arrived. Can you imagine how heroic these people are? That's something I would do. I'd grab a baseball bat and flatten his face. African migrant just tried to behead a white man. We read the whole article, never heard his victim was a white man. Who's this guy think he is, Carmelo Anthony? I know it's not funny, but sometimes you have to laugh in order to not cry, right? It's terrible what's going on. Bystanders could be heard yelling. Do you want to take a guess what they were yelling? He's trying to cut his head off! The victim is understood to be alive in the hospital at the time of this writing, but has sustained life-altering injuries. You think? Speculation online points to the possibility that he had both his eyes gouged out. So he's got no eyes, he's got no face, his head has been flattened, and he'll live the rest of his life in a wheelchair, mumbling to himself. I don't even know what to say anymore. You can't treat everyone as equal and let them all into your country, because everyone isn't equal. They're not. Some people are animals. Some people are savages. Some people are subhuman. And Western civilization should let in all the savages. And not everyone from Africa is a savage. Not everybody white's a savage. Not everyone black's a savage. I get all that. I have never once in my life held the entire black race responsible for one black man's crime. Not once in my life. I have lots of black friends, and I love them. And they're great people. They're not responsible for what another black man does. But as I said in the past, maybe we should have a hard, fast rule. The only people we let in our country is people who take an IQ test, and they got to be in the top 2% of every country. So if you're in the top 2% of Serbia, you're in. If you're not, you're not. If you're in the top 2% of Congo, Republic of Congo, if you're not in the top 2% of South Africa, if you're not in the top 2% of Sudan, you don't get in. If you are in the top 2%, you have a chance to get in. Because our country should only let in the best and the brightest. If you're not the best and the brightest, if you're not the smartest, if you're not the brightest bulb, we don't let you in. America doesn't need losers. We don't need dummies who are going to fail when they get here. Forget about fail. They're never going to succeed from the moment they get here till the moment they die. And we certainly don't need criminals. Shouldn't you check if a person has a criminal record before you let them into America? Of course you should. But there are countries, you would argue, that don't have those records to provide. Right. That's why we should not let in no one from those countries ever again. If there's no criminal record, we don't let you in. Simple. Very simple. Another big story out there in the news, flesh-eating cattle screwworm spreads beyond Texas as USDA accelerates an eradication push. So, from what I've heard, we're talking about killing $8 billion worth of cattle to get rid of this screwworm. And I would ask the question, think back to a couple of years ago, because I haven't heard it lately, but a couple of years ago, 2 and 3 and 4 years ago, there were a lot of fires at plants that created food for the United States of America, whether they be egg plants, egg warehouses, whether they be food processing plants. An awful lot of them burnt to the ground. And I said, the borders are open, Biden's letting everyone in, and their goal is to destroy the United States of America. And how do you do that? Well, by damaging the food supply of the United States. So maybe they gave up on burning them down because all those plants must have then hired extra security. So now it's not so easy to burn them down. So maybe what's happened is now they've gone to the next step. Let's try and poison reservoirs. And you heard in Alabama, I think it was Mobile, Alabama, a month ago or less, maybe it was 3 weeks ago, we caught an attempt to poison the water in Mobile, Alabama, the drinking water for the people of Mobile. And if they had succeeded, you're talking about like 1 million people in the metropolitan area total who would have no more water. And maybe they're trying to destroy the cattle of the United States and nobody can eat meat anymore. And maybe they're trying to bring in little ticks that cause you, once they bite you, to never, ever be able to tolerate meat again. You throw up when you eat meat. You know that's happening, right? There are ticks that cause people to throw up for the rest of their lives when they eat meat. They can never eat meat again. Never eat meat again. So between the screwworm and the ticks and the poisoning of the water and the plants on fire, which, again, I'll argue lately it's been pretty good. We have not seen food plants go up. But we saw it much of the time in, I guess it was like 2022, 2023, and maybe even 2024. So it seems to me the people that we let in are attacking us from within, which is what I predicted from day one. Mm-hmm. Other big news story, Trump vows response after claiming Iran shot down U.S. Apache helicopter over the Strait of Hormuz. So our helicopter was shot down, a very sophisticated U.S. Apache helicopter, first time that's happened. And luckily, we rescued the 2 men. I heard it was a rescue drone of some kind with special powers that found them, and we got them. And they're both okay. They're both okay, but the reality is that I just don't know where Trump's going with this. I don't understand why he doesn't just destroy all Iranian capabilities. Military, if you have to, electric, dams, bridges, railways, bomb them all. We're not going to win by talking to them. I don't know why he doesn't get that. I don't know. I'm always on Trump's side, and he knows more than I do. So it's been very hard for me to criticize because he has information I don't, and he's much smarter than me or you or anybody else. A brilliant guy, and I trust him. But it just seems to me that Iranians lie like the rest of us breathe. How do you know Iranians lying? He's breathing. So you're talking about the biggest liars in world history. You can never count on them to abide by any agreement, and you're just going to have to kill them all. And if that takes time, it takes time. Just do it. Finish the job, Mr. President, and kill them all. Not the Iranian people, but the Iranian leaders and the Iranian military and the Iranian Revolutionary Guard. Kill them all. I don't know what to tell you. Daniel, how much time we have left? All right, 2.5. All right, so one more Trump story I'll give you. Actually, there's a couple of good Trump stories. If I can find the other one. Here it is. Oh, good. Wow. Got 50 articles here, and I just managed to open to the right one. So there's two more good Trump stories, and I'll get to as much of them as I can here in this opening segment, and then I'll come back and grab them in the last segment after we do our interview. But Trump is on the verge of securing a $70 billion ICE funding victory after the House secures the bill, which was already passed by the Senate. House set to send Trump massive ICE funding victory after months of GOP turmoil, so an extra $70 billion for ICE. I mean, the money we're spending to get these people out of the country is mind-numbing, but we got to get them out of the country. There's no choice. I don't know if anyone understands. Trump would have done much more. I know he hasn't done enough. That's because judges are standing in the way every step of the way. There's an obstacle on every block. It's a judge. I don't know how you get around that except to ignore the judges, and then you could wind up in prison. So, it's up to Trump how far he wants to go. I personally would say, screw you. I'm not listening to one word you say. You are against the national security of the United States. You're a nothing judge, an unelected nothing. You don't even make much money. You're a peon. You're a nothing. You have no right to be involved in national security issues in the United States, and I'm going to ignore you. Take me to the Supreme Court. That's what I would say. That's what I would do. And then America First economic nationalism at work. U.S. steel production rises as Trump tariffs reduce foreign imports by 30%. So people are buying U.S. steel, not foreign steel, and that's good. Not enough praise for Trump. Does a lot of great things. Tangible Investments is the sponsor of this segment of the show. How important is it to own gold? China's central bank just increased their gold reserves for the 18th consecutive month. I believe that's an all-time modern record. China's preparing for what's coming. Are you? But buying gold is not enough. You need to buy it at the right price. The right price is the spot price. No one else talks about the spot price. Compare anyone else's answer to Tangible Investments. Right now, Tangible Investments is offering gold at just 1% over spot, silver as low as 3% over spot. Unheard of. Take advantage. If you want gold, silver, precious metals, or rare coins and honest pricing, call Tangible toll-free 888-330-4351, 888-330-4351, or go to rootforgold.com. Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn Root, CEO, conservative TV and radio host, and best-selling author. I believe in America and American exceptionalism. America is now focused on energy independence. Enter Lost Soldier Oil and Gas. It took 40 years to piece together this 40,000-acre giant gas discovery. The first 4,000 feet drilled so far are estimated to contain up to 6 trillion cubic feet of gas, making it one of the largest natural gas discoveries in the Rocky Mountain region in the last 30 years. This is how we power the AI future of America with clean natural gas. Headed by oil and gas legend Mark Bruner, whose previous public companies, Pinnacle Energy and Ultra Petroleum, delivered spectacular returns for investors. At its peak, a $10,000 investment in Ultra Petroleum turned into over $13 million. To learn more about this Lost Soldier oil and gas opportunity, go to lostsoldier.com. Fill out the contact form. That's lostsoldier.com. Hi, this is Wayne Allyn Root. If you're sick and tired of supporting woke companies, I have great news for you. You don't have to anymore. You can shop where my family shops at GreatPatriotStore.com. My team researched thousands of companies for my best-selling book, The Great Patriot Boycott Book, and one stood out above all, GreatPatriotStore.com. This is the answer to inflation. Hundreds of household products that you're already buying. Much higher quality, no toxic chemicals, delivered right to your door at incredible prices. 20,000 American families are joining every month, and you should too. And now they've got the beef, pasture raised with no hormones, antibiotics, or mRNA ever, exclusively available only to their members. Like Costco or Sam's Club, you need to become a member. Go to GreatPatriotStore.com, fill out the form, and they'll contact you right away. And boom, you're a member. For a limited time, the annual membership is $1. Go to GreatPatriotStore.com. That's GreatPatriotStore.com. state like California, the corruption is so deep, so overwhelming, so many, I think at this point, trillions have been stolen, not billions. It has to add up over 10 years to trillions of dollars of American taxpayer money on that train to nowhere and on all of the daycare centers and all of those. They're all ripping you off. The money that was stolen during COVID was like literally billions of dollars. And it's just, they cannot let a Republican win mayor of LA or governor of California, because then that person will conduct an investigation and find out who committed all the crimes. So all the people who committed the crime will go to jail. All right, welcome back. Warzone Live at our new time, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific, every single day, Monday through Friday, 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. The official podcast of the Gateway Pundit, America's 5th largest conservative news site, behind only Fox News, Wall Street Journal, New York Post, Breitbart, and then Gateway Pundit. 2.5 million daily readers, over 1 billion page views, and we are proud to be the official podcast of the Gateway Pundit. Zicha Genesis Medicine is the sponsor of this show, the main title sponsor, and I've been telling you about their medicines to reverse type 2 diabetes, Parkinson's disease, and reverse the number one cause of death in the world, small vessel heart disease. This form of heart disease is responsible for 1/3 of the deaths in the world. Now they have a treatment for it, and they have human data to show it is safe and it works. To get this medicine in the market, they are seeking investors to fund more medical research studies. Zicha is offering investors a royalty of 50% of cash received until they reach 10 times their investment. And after 48 months, for any investor who's not happy for any reason, Zicha will pay them back 2 times their initial investment. If you're interested in learning more about this investment opportunity, go to cure-war.com. They created a website just for my fans, cure-war, as in Wayne Alaroot, cure-war.com. Wouldn't it be great to make money and help cure diseases at the same time? Go to cure-war.com. All right, we've got our guest here, Josh Manning. He is the editor-at-large at Western Journal, another gigantic conservative website, westernjournal.com. And one of the things he wants to talk about, and I see it's a big story, although, Patar, I also see that we don't have the cover of the big story. I don't know if it's on the back of one or it's on the front or another. We did it backwards. I don't know. Something's missing here, Pete. The cover of the story said, luckily I memorized the cover of the story. It said there's basically unrest going on in the street outside the Carmelo Anthony trial, where he was just found guilty of first-degree murder. Some sort of chaos outside the courthouse. So let's go to Josh Manning and find out what's going on, because I'm busy here stuck doing the podcast, so I don't even know what's going on. What's going on?
Wayne, I had the same problem when I was prepping to visit with you, because I'm looking at stories that WJ has covered and would be neat, and I'm not watching breaking as much. And then I turn over to X, and oh my gosh, we've got a guilty verdict. And before the verdict hit, there were large group of black protesters out there, and they were actually kind of counter-protesters. They were, well, not counter-protesters. There were a group of white people out there supporting Austin Metcalf's family. He was the kid who was stabbed by, now we can say it, was stabbed by Carmelo Anthony, and there was a group of protesters out there, a black kid, and there was a group of protesters out there, all seemingly all black people, who were protesting the trial. They were protesting that the jury was all white. They were protesting essentially Austin Metcalf, the victim, the boy who was killed. And he was a boy. He was 17. He wasn't an adult yet.
They've got 2 ridiculous arguments. Number one, same as his defense lawyers. Number one, it was self-defense. So now, if you stab someone in the heart, it's self-defense. And number 2, they argue that it's racist because it's an all-white jury. So, right. I mean, last I checked, the OJ jury found him innocent. It was an all-black jury. And, and remember, the OJ Simpson jury, remember, we had at least one juror afterwards say, oh, yeah, that was a response to Rodney King. Right.
Yeah, we were getting back at you because of Rodney King. So they let a murderer go because of Rodney King. So anyway, there were also Black Panthers outside the courthouse, and they were, of course, and they were screaming, "This is war. America is racist. America has always been racist. This is war. This is war." And I was watching it, Wayne, and I couldn't help but think, gosh, if I were there, I would offer this woman a ticket. I would say, listen, I am glad to buy you a ticket back. If that's what you, not back, she's never been to Africa. She's not from Africa, she's from here. And by the way, this woman looked like she weighed 250, 300 pounds. America is one of the few places where if you are an abused, oppressed minority, you end up being overweight, which is a very strange thing. Try being oppressed and abused in Russia. Try being oppressed and abused in China. Try being oppressed and abused in Rwanda. You think
Gaza?
they end up fat?
How about Gaza? You'd be very thin in Gaza.
How
very
about
thin.
Somalia? Gaza, a great example. How about Somalia?
Right.
So, you know, so it is like, I posted it on X last night. If they are wanting to start a race war, if Democrats are wanting to start a race war, they could not be doing a better job of it. And it is horrible. Let me hit you with a crazy stat, Wayne. I saw this morning. At the University of Michigan, before we reeled in DEI and affirmative action stuff, at the University of Michigan, if you applied and you got a perfect score on the SAT, that gave you 12 points on their admission scale. If you were black,
let me guess,
you got 20. 20.
Good guess, 20.
50%, more than 50% above a perfect SAT score. There are so many programs in place to help Black Americans, yet they claim racism, 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 racism. It's because they've been trained by the Democrat Party to do that. They've been trained by communists to do that. And it is much easier to do that than to work at life. Life is hard. You have to work at it. You can't be lazy. You have to get an education. And if you don't want to do that, it's a lot easier to sit there and take welfare and say, oh, you guys are racist.
Right. Well, listen, I'm white, obviously, and I'm a son of a butcher, and nobody handed me anything my entire life, and I got into Columbia University, and I didn't get into Columbia because I was white. I didn't get in because I was a son of a butcher. I got in because I got the highest SAT scores you could get. I got in because I had straight A pluses. I got in because I was valedictorian in my class. That's why I got in. So if you tell me a black kid gets into Harvard and he does the same thing as me, highest SAT scores, valedictorian, #1 in his class, straight A pluses for 4 years of college. I mean, literally, my lowest grade in 4 years of high school, I meant to say high school, my lowest grade in 4 years of high school, I believe, was an A. I got almost 100% A pluses in every single course. That's why I got into Columbia. If you're black and you could do that, you deserve to go to Harvard. I got no problem. Not only a problem, I welcome you. But if you can't beat me, you shouldn't be in. You shouldn't be in with lower scores than me because your color is black. And you shouldn't get off with murder because you're black. And I thank God, finally, we have a just verdict. And I believe, if I read it correctly, I was looking very quickly, it was guilty of first-degree murder. So he will spend the rest of his life in prison in Texas, I would guess. This is not some joke blue state where you get found guilty of murder and you're out in 5 years. I think this is life in prison for Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah, it is.
I hope so.
I think the only reason he got off with life is that he was underage when he stabbed him, if I remember this correctly. Otherwise, he could have been looking at the death penalty, which, frankly, Wayne, I think we actually need to revisit this idea that you can't have the death penalty for people who are underage. In cases like this, in really heinous, horrific cases like this, it's not clear to me why in the world, if you're 17, you shouldn't be executed. You have proven that you can't be trusted in society. You've proven it. Why in the world wouldn't we execute the person and not have to spend all of the insane amounts of money that we spend housing them in prison, giving them cable TV and giving them, you remember that, giving them tablets so that they can watch porn. Why would why would we do that? It makes no sense.
Makes no sense. And listen, I'm a big believer in the death penalty for only one reason. I believe in revenge. Once you kill someone, They're gone forever after you kill them. So it's good. You'll never kill someone again, and you get revenge for the person's family that died. So I'm all for the death penalty. I'm not against life in prison. I'm not against life in prison. I don't want to spend that money if I don't have to. But my point to you is, Josh, that life in prison would at least be acceptable to me if it really meant life. My problem is in these blue states, life in prison is really like 20 years to life, and then with good behavior, they let you off in 15. So if you committed the crime at 25 years old, you're 40 and back on the streets again, and almost guaranteed to kill again. So life doesn't mean life in a blue state.
Well, that was the Sikh who killed the college student in the UK. He got life, but it was a minimum of 20 years.
Right.
So you get a life sentence. But then you get out in 20, and then when you put good behavior, time already served, this and that and the other, you get out in 15 years. I'll tell you another story. I know a young man who was caught on massive drug charges. He had just turned 18, massive drug charges. Was looking at 30 to 50 years in prison over this, a lot of felonies stacked up. And he's probably going to serve about a year. Yeah. Now, this system, I know this person, I know the family, there's some amount of sympathy there, but this system where you allow people to do horrible things and then you don't punish them. We have not got a prison population. We do have a prison population problem, Wayne. We have too few people in prison. And that's hard to say. And people point to Europe and they say, oh, well, prison populations are so much smaller there. Well, let me ask you, was Europe settled by cowboys and pioneers? No. The U.S. was settled by cowboys and pioneers. You're going to have more violence here. That's sad. You're going to have more violence here. But the problem, and we could actually fix the prison problem. If we started throwing recidivists in jail, you prove three times that you just can't be trusted. Right. Put them in jail. Gosh, I think the stat is if you do like 5 strikes and you're out, you can clear out like 60% of crime right there. Right. We can fix the prison problem if we'll just imprison the right people.
Right. And listen, you and I think alike. I've said this on my shows so many times, Josh, it's almost ridiculous. I've said that whatever happened to 3 strikes and you're out, my guess is if you took all the criminals that are 3 strikes and more, you'd wipe out crime in this country to such an extent that our streets would be safe again. Because it's the same people committing the crimes again and again and again.
So easy.
You just saw in New York City, someone stabbed, 5 or 6 people at Penn Station. And I saw that he was let out of prison after doing almost the exact same thing just a couple of years ago. There's the same crazy people again and again and again. It's just sickening. And by the way, remember that girl, what was her name, like Varushka in North Carolina, riding the rail, the little blonde girl, the black guy cut her throat? Yeah. I saw today, and he's being tried federally. He was found not capable of serving trial. So he will not, I guess he'll spend the rest of his life in a mental institution, or maybe not the rest of his life. Maybe you spend 20 years and the doctor says you're okay now and they let you out. But he's never going to really be charged, serve time for murder of that poor little girl that happened on video that the whole world saw.
There's maybe good news on that, and you may have more up-to-date information than I do, but the last I saw was that the ruling that he wasn't fit to stand trial was a state ruling. The feds have come in, and they are going to try him. Now, if there's been a federal ruling that he can't stand trial, I haven't seen that yet. Maybe that's happening.
This is the headline I've got that I downloaded a little while ago. Monster who brutally murdered Ukrainian immigrant Irina Zarutska in cold blood found not competent to stand trial in federal case. That's what it says.
Oh, there you go. You've got it more up to date than I do. The evil demon savagely murdered innocent Ukrainian immigrant in cold blood last year will not be standing trial at this time in his federal case because of his mental state. The findings came after what officials called a lengthy process that included interviews and a review of medical records. So evidently this is a federal ruling, not a state ruling, and now he can't serve life in prison or get the death penalty when we all saw him cut that poor girl's throat. Literally.
The look of horror on her face was something I can never forget the rest of my life. And when she saw that man hulking over about to cut her throat, and then her throat was cut and the blood was gushing out and she couldn't speak, the look on her face was something you could never forget.
That was a turning point for me. We all saw the video, and then, it cut off right before the stabbing, and then they released. Somebody got the video showing the stabbing and showing her this look of horror on her face, and then she just slowly slumps over in her chair. And there are 5 or 6 black people right there in the train. They do nothing. And I mean, that video changed how I perceive a lot of this stuff. And we're living in a world, we don't have to live like this. We've got to do something about it. We have to deal with black culture, which is so incredibly violent. But again, Wayne, like you and I were saying, pull out the worst criminals there. They've done this in Memphis. Memphis is kind of my hometown. My dad was telling me, he was talking to a couple of black guys there and said, hey, how do you guys feel about what Trump did with the National Guard and pulling all the really bad guys off the streets? And they said,
and they were happy, right?
We love it.
Right,
we love it. This is the best. So black communities are so hurt. Tom Sowell.
They don't want to defund the police. Blacks never wanted to defund the police. They're the ones who were the beneficiary of police.
He said he is so glad he grew up before whites decided to try to help black people, because that actually gave him a chance. When we try to help black people, what we've done is put the worst criminals back out on the street to victimize black people. Black people do victimize blacks more than whites.
Here's the answer that I gave on social media. I think it was yesterday or the day before. I said, look, when you see all these stabbings and all these shootings and all these murders in bad neighborhoods, the answer is to, and you see white people being killed by black people in these bad neighborhoods. The answer is to leave that state and go to a red state where you have law and order judges, and you have law and order police, and you have no defunding of the police, and you're allowed to carry your own weapon for self-defense. That's the answer. That's the only answer I could find. Then I see an article that in a specific school, I don't know where it was, Americans, I think it was Massachusetts, American students can't carry knives to school for self-defense unless they're Sikhs. If you're a Sikh, meaning from India, you're allowed to carry a knife and no one else can. Insanity.
Well, but Wayne, you have to be a sincere Sikh. If you're not a sincere Sikh, if you won't sign a piece of paper saying that you're a sincere Sikh, you can't carry that deadly ceremonial knife. Yeah, it's true. And here's what's interesting. They did this. It's just surfaced after the Henry Nowak killing, but they actually did this. This Massachusetts school district did it 2 years ago. They did it in 2024. They clearly, well, they could have seen this story and just ignored it because they're leftist. But in 2022, you know what happened in the UK, Wayne? A student who was a Sikh who was carrying a knife, stabbed, and I think he killed him. I can't remember if he killed him or if he just badly hurt him, another student. So, Massachusetts, liberals in Massachusetts look at that and say, well, it's happened before that we've had a student stabbed. Yeah, let's try it again. It probably won't happen again. And what happens? In the UK, we have another incident of that. It's horrible.
All right, we're on the way out. We have these 18-minute segments now, Josh. You get lots of time to talk.
18.
And the 18 is up, man. It's time flies when you're having fun. We're off, Josh. Editor-at-large at Western Journal, westernjournal.com. Josh Manning, good friend of the show, and good friend of Wayne Allyn. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Wayne.
What would you say if we told you you could reverse most any ailment or symptom
without painful exercises in just 88 days? We have created the only patent-pending intercellular hydration protocol.
Don't miss your opportunity to feel better. We know there's a lot of false hope out there, and many people have bought programs that work for a moment, but life's a lot longer than a moment.
We have been helping people gain intercellular hydration for nearly 3 decades.
You will lose fat, not weight, fat. Fast, including that killer visceral fat. Chronic dehydration is one of the root causes of many ailments and symptoms. Ask your doctor about Energized Health. Don't miss your opportunity to transform your health now.
So log on to energizedhealth.com. That's energizedhealth.com.
Possible side effects may include increased joy, energy, potential reduction in prescriptions, more fulfilling relationships, fewer doctor visits, and overall improved quality of health and life.
Hi, I'm Wayne Allyn from Vertical Research Advisory, VRA. Kip Herridge's one-of-a-kind global investment and economic newsletter. Listen up. Trump is in charge. The glory days are here.
Growth rates are only going to grow from here.
This is your 4-year window to make a fortune and set up your retirement for the rest of your life. Kip wins whether the markets are up or down, whether the economy is up or down.
We set our folks up for long-term success.
For 21 years, Kip's been a friend, as well as my personal financial advisor. During that time, he's beaten the markets 86% of the time, while the average Wall Street money manager loses the market 90% of the time. Now Kip is predicting a new golden age for the economy. Let Kip prove it to you for free. Kip's offering his daily VRA investment letter completely free for 2 weeks. Free for 2 weeks. Try it for 2 weeks. I know you'll stay for life. Join now at VRAinsider.com. My new book is out, How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. You can only get it at Amazon. How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. Finally, all of their unsung achievements in one book, and it's 100+ blank pages. Okay, get it? It's a gag gift, and it even says on the front, warning, do not show this book to Democrats. Their heads will explode. And the greatest gag gift ever for conservatives, Republicans, MAGA patriots, and anyone born in the USA. How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. 100 blank pages. Go get 10 copies, 20 copies. Give it out to all your friends so they get the message that illegal immigrants have not done anything to make America great. And by the way, understand my theory here. Legal immigrants have done lots of things to make America great. Our whole country is legal immigrants. My grandparents were legal immigrants. Your grandparents were legal immigrants. Your great-grandparents were legal immigrants. All right, Wayne Allyn coming to you from Las Vegas. This is Warzone Live, official podcast of the Gateway Pundit. Start with the good news, then we'll get to the bad news. The good news, and I mentioned this at the end of the first segment of the show, America First economic nationalism at work. U.S. steel production rises as Trump tariffs reduce foreign imports by 30%. And don't forget, you have judges ruling against it and saying we have to give all the money back. This is insanity. This is no way to run a country. Every step of the way, there's some insurrection judge carrying out an insurrection. That's why I call them insurrection judges. This is clearly insurrection. This was their plan. If you can't beat Trump, impede him every step of the way. With a judge, a communist bribe judge standing in the way, every step of the way. And I have no doubt some of them are just communist judges who are brainwashed commies, Stepford wives, right? Brainwashed Kool-Aid drinkers about communism. And they hate Trump and they hate America. And they hate you and me because we're white. No doubt about that. And most of them are white, by the way. These are self-hating white people, white liberals. And so I have no doubt some of them are just true believers. But others are bribed. There's no question that some of these judges and some, if not most, Democrat politicians, especially the congressmen, who are trying so desperately to stop us from deporting illegals, and to stop us from sealing the border. There's no question in my mind that some, if not most of them, are bribed. They're on the payroll of either China, or the Mexican drug cartel to keep the border open and to keep from deporting MS-13 bad guys and drug dealers and et cetera, et cetera. And also because Mexico doesn't want any of them back. Do you understand that Mexico, El Salvador was one of the most dangerous places in the world, one of the murder capitals of the world. I don't know if it was number one, but it was in the top 5 murder capitals of the world. I think it was number 1, if I vaguely remember. And then they arrested every freaking MS-13 type of drug dealer without any rights at all, and they just threw them in a prison, the world's worst prison, where you never get out again, and you have no representation. There are no lawyers. You will never get out. You will never see daylight the rest of your life. And all the crime's gone. And now it's a vacation capital of the world. Everybody's going to El Salvador. You can walk the streets at night. Total safety. There's no muggers. There's no problems. There's no nothing. It's a combination of wiping everyone off the street who's a bad guy, especially the gangbangers. And then as far as the petty criminals and also the rapists and the murderers and the robbers, you just send them to America. And now El Salvador is the safest place in the world. So we should send all these people back. Well, they don't want them back. El Salvador's our friend. They're a good one. Mexico's not our friend. Mexico's our enemy, if you ask me. But they don't want any of these people back. They sent them to us for a reason, to get rid of their troublemakers and to save money. You know how much money you save when you get rid of the criminals? So, first of all, it's so crazy. I started this rant on the Trump tariffs, which are helping us sell more steel and forcing companies to buy less steel from overseas companies, overseas competitors of ours. And that was good. And then I got into the rant because there's so many judges who want to stop Trump's tariffs, which is crazy. They're working. And at the moment they're working, he wants them to give the money back. Not only end them, but give all the money back. No, actually, all that money has already been taken, and we need to give it to the people. President Trump should announce he's giving it to the people. And he's giving it to the people in the form of a tariff bonus of some kind. And then I wanted to mention this before the show's up. I got this letter today. This is a great idea. I get all my best ideas from the people, from average people. I get the best ideas. This is John. I don't know where John's from, but this letter's from John. Why not have a nationally sponsored reward? I think I'm going to write this column in the next few days. A nationally sponsored reward or bounty for reporting the location of illegal aliens, perhaps as follows. A hardened criminal, you turn in a hardened criminal, you get a $1,000 reward. If you turn in any old illegal alien or any illegal alien family, you get a $500 reward. And if you turn in any individual illegal alien, a family of illegal aliens, a $500 reward, and an individual illegal alien is a $100 reward. I'm going to play with this. I think his idea is way too low in money. Nobody cares about $100 anymore. No one cares about $500 anymore. $1,000 is okay. I think it should be like maybe a $2,000 reward for each criminal and a $500 for every illegal alien. So if it's a family of 4, you get $2,002. If it's a family of 1, you get $500. And then it says all payments made after alien is successfully removed from American soil. Something must be done to deport all these illegal aliens from our country. Thank you, John. Great idea, and I'm going to try and write it up and pitch it to the president. I think it's great because everything in life is about money. You got to motivate people. You have to motivate them and get them excited. Mm-hmm. Oh, and speaking of that, good time to mention my new book, How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. 100 blank pages. It's a gag gift. It's a funny book, and everybody who sees it laughs out loud. And it's kind of my companion book to How Democrats Have Made America Great, and it's 100-plus blank pages. So I've got 2 blank books. I've written, I believe, 20 books now, and my last 2 are blank. They were the easiest books I've ever written, and they'll be the easiest books you ever read. Take you 1 minute. You read the cover, and you read by Wayne Root, and then it's blank. How Democrats Have Made America Great, and How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. And both books are available at Amazon.com. That's right. Put all my books, because 90% of all books are sold at Amazon, so why worry about anybody else? Go to Amazon.com and just look up Wayne Allyn Root, and both books are there. But the most recent one is How Illegal Immigrants Have Made America Great. And the subtitle's funny, too. Finally, all of their unsung achievements in one book. And it's blank. All right, so Trump is on the verge of securing a $70 billion ICE funding victory after the House clears a hurdle. The Senate already passed it. And now with the House passing it, it's going to President Trump's desk, and he's got $70 billion for ICE. I wonder what he'll do with it. I wonder how he'll spend it. So that was all the good news to start this segment. Now let me give you the bad news. Los Angeles is lost. Los Angeles is lost. I sent a note. Let me see if I can find it. I sent a note to an old friend of mine who still lives in L.A. And I said, voting is completely rigged. And her answer is, and it's completely the same playbook as 2020. It's so obvious what the commies have done. Right, everybody knows. We all know, no matter how many times you deny it, we all know. Every one of us knows. You stole 2020. We know how you stole 2020 with mail-in votes and no voter ID and illegal aliens and homeless people. And we know how you stole Los Angeles just now. We know you stole it, and we know how you stole it with illegal alien votes and voter ID, mail-in ballots with no voter ID and homeless. That's how you did it. It's the same as 2020. We know what your MO is. Outrage as Spencer Pratt is dumped from LA mayor's race. City is lost. Everyone knows the city of LA is lost. The city of angels is now the city of zombies. Everybody knows that. You've destroyed the city. You voted for and you're getting exactly what you voted for. I mean, all my friends are moving. Everyone's left LA and they're all moving to Las Vegas. I'm sure there's plenty I don't know that are moving to Texas and Florida and Tennessee and South Carolina. Maybe Arizona, Phoenix, Scottsdale, maybe to Utah, right? I'm sure a few are moving to Park City, the richest ones. Price has got to be going up in Park City, man. Houses are all like $10 million there. So the richest people in LA are moving to Park City probably. But my point is, there's going to be no one left to pay the bills. And that city is a lost city. It's done. Just like New York with Miami is a lost city. Does everyone move at the same time? No. No, there's a few. It's a trickle here and a trickle there, but over the next 5 years, they're going to empty out like nothing you've ever seen. And there's going to be no one left to pay the bill. And what my friends tell me is, you just can't even go out anymore in Los Angeles. They tell me that all the nicest restaurants are being staked out by criminals, and they follow you home, and they carjack you, or they home invade you. They steal your car, or they rob you in the driveway of your jewelry, or they come in the house, and they steal all your valuables in the house. So it's a bad situation. And my friends, some of them are very rich, and they don't wear jewelry anymore in LA. They keep it in a safe deposit box. What's the point of having jewelry if you keep it in a safe deposit box? And how does that hurt the jewelry industry? There's nobody left to buy jewelry. No one's going to buy any new jewelry when you're not even wearing the old jewelry. So that's a bad thing. And then when you think about the fear, and you think about the fact that they're going out less and less to eat because they don't want to face someone driving home and following them home. And they don't wear flashy clothes anymore, and they don't drive a fancy car anymore. One of my buddies, my tax lawyer, he said to me the other day at dinner, I had dinner with him Saturday night, and he said, he really shocked me because I thought LA was the car capital of the world. He said, I've been living now on and off for 5 years in Vegas because he moved 5 years ago to Vegas, keeps his law firm in LA, but he lives in Vegas. And he said, LA is not the car capital of the world anymore. Vegas has much nicer cars on the street. It's not even close, he said. I see more Rolls Royces and Bentleys and Ferraris in Vegas than I ever see in LA anymore. And that was shocking to me, because I thought LA is the car capital of the world. I thought it's the classic car capital. I thought it's the Bentley and Rolls Royce and Ferrari capital. And I thought everybody has a Mercedes and a BMW and a Jaguar, Maserati, some sort of nice car, Porsche. But he says he sees nicer cars in Vegas than he ever sees in LA anymore. Because everyone's afraid to drive a nice car. When you stop at the light, someone's going to look at your car and decide to kill you. So you think they voted for more of that, or you think it was all rigged? It was all rigged. It was completely rigged. And I said this on so many shows. I mean, it's not like I'm a backseat driver. I predicted this. I said Spencer Pratt was never going to win. And I'm telling you, I said it, and I'll say it again, Steve Hilton's never going to win. Because you can't win when it's rigged. And the reason it's rigged is because they've ripped off the taxpayers. They've raped the taxpayers. They've literally destroyed everything you could destroy. And they've given it all away and stolen it all. And they can't let anyone get in who's a Republican and look under the hood and do an investigation and find out about the rape and the robbery. Because if you find out about it, then everyone's going to prison. So these politicians, these Democrat politicians that did the stealing, they're all in big trouble if they let a Republican win, because then he's looking under the hood and he's seeing what's going on. And then there's going to be criminal investigations, and then people are going to be arrested, and everyone's going to jail. Gavin Newsom's going to jail. So they can't let a Republican ever get a seat of power, because then they're going to see what's being done and how it's being done. And by the way, if you see how it's being done, then you could look all over the country and see it's being done the same way. You know, the MO, the same way by Democrats all over the country. We're all being ripped off like there's no tomorrow. There's a reason. I've argued this for 20 plus years. I've lived in Vegas 24 years, and I've argued it for at least 20 of the 24 I've lived here. Every Republican candidate I know in Nevada is broke. They don't have enough money to run their campaign. And they're always crying poverty. And every Democrat candidate in this town has all the money they need. Why is that? Well, A, they get foreign donations. That's what Act Blue is all about, in my opinion. Act Blue is to process foreign money into Democrat campaigns from China and the Chinese Communist Party and the Mexican drug cartel and Iran. All the enemies of America are funding Democrat campaigns because they need They need Democrats in office. They need Democrats in office. So foreign money is the number one thing that feeds them. But number two is ripping off the people. It's not just foreign money. That's maybe half their money. And the other half comes from government. You know, like USAID. They've got all these government agencies that all the money is given out to Democrats. Don't forget all the money that went to Ukraine was laundered back. Some large percentage of it was laundered back and given to Democrat and Rhino candidates. Wow. Here's an article. Voter fraud. Los Angeles County woman pleads guilty to paying people in Skid Row to vote. What a shocker. It was just yesterday that Spencer Pratt saw a drop. The last ballot drop was 43,000 ballots, 43,000. And he got killed in that drop. And he said, no wonder the number's 43. Where have I seen that number before? That's the number of homeless there are in the streets in Los Angeles. But I would say to Spencer, the fact that there are 43,000 homeless means nothing because of mail-in ballots and no voter ID. They're just manufacturing ballots. Someone said to me, I say, why don't we play the same tricks as them? We should all vote a certain way at a certain time and hide from the Democrats what we're doing and blah, blah, blah. And I said, I don't remember what their theory was, but I said, your theory would be great if we were competing honestly for honest votes and there was a certain amount, right? Here's a pool of 100 votes and we're all competing for the same 100. But Republicans aren't playing on a fair playing field because we're competing for real votes and Democrats just make up out of thin air the amount they need to win. So it doesn't matter what you do. You have this idea, you have that idea. They're all BS. They're all bullspit. Because Democrats, no matter what you do, if they can count for 2 weeks after the election, you're going to lose. No matter how good a candidate you are, no matter how many votes you get, they've got all these illegals and all these dead people and all these homeless people. And then they've got just pure made-up mail-in ballots. I heard that in California, to fill out a mail-in ballot, you could show a gym membership. You could show a library card. What's to stop me from having a passport, a driver's license, a library card, a gym membership, and 5 other things, probably an electric bill and a gas bill, and then going and getting 5 ballots and voting 5 times? Nothing. There's nothing stopping it. It's absolutely crazy. And then probably this will be the last story of the show. We have like 2 minutes left. So Trump's Save America Act shows signs of life in the Senate despite Republican revolt. A late-night Senate vote breathed new life into Trump's Save America Act despite being blocked by the filibuster. So, look, I don't know how many times I have to say this, but there's always a certain amount of people watching who have never heard me say it the first time. And it doesn't hurt, for the people who heard me say it, a little positive reinforcement to hear it again. I want the SAVE Act to pass. I hope it passes. I'm not against it. I'm for it. But at this point, it's kind of a scam. Everyone's getting their hopes up for nothing. Because A, I just don't think it's going to pass. I don't think it will. But by hook or crook, maybe they'll attach it to a bill and somehow they'll make it pass through reconciliation or something like that. But even if it passes, it's going to be challenged in court by Democrats. And there isn't time for it to take effect before the midterms. So it's good that we pass it. Maybe it'll be in effect for 2028. But all Trump has to do is sign an executive order that's called a national security emergency, and there's nothing Democrats can do. They can't take it to court. You can only overcome it with a 2/3 vote of both houses of Congress, which is never going to happen. That's all Trump has to do. Pass a national security emergency for elections. And it solves all our problems. They can't take it to court. The Supreme Court ruled in 1983 under Reagan, you can't take a national security emergency to court. So that's all Trump has to do. So while you're all pining away for the SAVE Act, the national security emergency is the way to go. It's as simple as that. I'm all for the Save America Act, but it's never going to take effect before this midterm. The national security emergency can't take effect before this midterm. All right, I'm Wayne Allyn Root. This has been Warzone Live. Great to be with you. Hey, by the way, we can go as long as we want, so don't even give me a countdown, because I want to mention Energize Health on the way out the door. I forgot to mention Energize Health. They signed the front of the checks. They changed my life. I lost 25 pounds of fat. Not weight, 25 pounds of fat. There's me, by the way, with Steve Forbes. 15 years ago, not 5 years ago. 15 years ago, at the age of 50. Now I'm turning 65, that's me in the gym. Lost 25 pounds of fat, gained 10 pounds of muscle. Changed my life in only 88 days. It's my fountain of youth. It reversed aged me. I look better now than I did 15 years ago at age 50, and I'm going to be 65 on July 20th. Really amazing. For decades, Energized Health has transformed the lives of thousands of people using the breakthrough science of intercellular hydration. Just go to energizedhealth.com, energizedhealth.com, and type in war or say war when you speak to their representatives. Say war for Wayne Allyn, and you get 40% off, and you go on the same journey as me. And I hope it is your life extension and life aging reversal and fountain of youth. That's it for today's show. EnergizedHealth.com. Promo code WAR. That's it. Have a great night. See you tomorrow. Same time, same place. 4 o'clock Eastern, 1 o'clock Pacific. War Zone Live. Official podcast of the Gateway Pundit. God bless. Bye-bye. All right, Wayne Allyn, I am joined by Gordon Bond. What an honor. Owner of Bond Arms, one of the great gun manufacturers, all made in the USA, all made in Texas. His website is getbondarms.com. Gordon, what makes Bond Arms different from any other gun manufacturer?
Well, when my brother started the company a long time ago, the regular Derringer, let me see if I can get it in the picture here, was basically known as a cheap, dangerous throwaway gun. This is a 1865 model. Derringers have been around forever. And what he did was take a dangerous gun and just made it very cool by better materials, trigger guard, interchangeable barrels, solid stainless steel. And Wayne, like you saw at the show, people love picking them up and just holding them. And it's just like, they pick it up and it's like, wow, this is like a real gun.
That's great. I saw it. My wife and I were at the show, and she's a gun aficionado even more than I am. And she said it was the best booth at the entire gun show. Out of thousands of booths was Gordon's booth, Bond Arms. To celebrate America's 250th anniversary, Bond Arms is releasing the American 250 edition handgun at a special price only for my fans. Tell us about it.
So one thing that we wanted to do, when I graduated in 1976, it was the bicentennial, and that's all they talked about all year long. And so when this 250th anniversary was coming up, we really wanted to do something special on this. And what you're seeing on the screen right now is the stainless steel version. It's 45 long Colt and 410 shotgun shell, very well built. I mean, our guns are built like a tank. People love the quality. They call it a hand cannon, best snake gun you've ever had. There's a beautiful side with the flag and the Liberty. And people just love the way that we do things. I mean, they'll come to our booth every year and just go, wow, what are y'all doing this year? You know, what crazy thing are you doing this year? So the American 250, we're really going to focus on that. We want to give everybody the opportunity to own a piece of history.
Gun. What a beautiful gun. What a gorgeous gun. The engravings. Wow. And I love that name, hand cannon. I want a hand cannon. Mine got delivered today. I'll have them for next week's show. My own personal hand cannon from Bond Arms. How do you get it? Go to getbondarms.com. See the number on the screen, getbondarms.com, or call 817-573-4445. See the disclaimer on the bottom of the screen for certain restrictions. Getbondarms.com. Gordon, thank you.
Thank you, Wayne.